If you ever wondered how casually the 51st state idea gets thrown around in the US, let me show you.
Well, you'll have the opportunity to become the 51st state.
We're looking forward to having you as our 51st state.
With our Canadian friends, our 51st state.
These three megadorks are the ones I often feature on my channel. They don't just believe it, they say it proudly. For them, it's normal. For us, it's definitely the thing that would end the relationship with our neighbor for good. I seriously can't stand hearing it. I've got a couple reports today, one from Jefferson County and the other from St. Lawrence County. But first, a quick shout out to Rod for sending this amazing photo of Waterton, Alberta. Really appreciate you sending it over to me. Now, before we get into the two reports, let me get back to the 51st rhetoric, and let me show you what's being broadcasted on Fox News to the 77 million loyal followers that Donald Trump has.
Trump's tired of getting bullied. Trump's not going to let this slide anymore. If he needs to gerrymander, he's going to gerrymander. And if they want to add stars to the flag, okay, we'll just take Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. And it doesn't have to be aggressively. We can take it peacefully. It will be a mostly peaceful invasion. And those are 3 states. That means 6 Republican senators. See what we did there?
Don't forget Greenland. Exactly.
Greenland. Dana
Exactly.
said.
I'm
Dana
all for
said.
it now.
16
I am totally for it now.
I'm seriously at a loss for words. Well, I do have words, but they're not YouTube friendly. What they're saying here is ignorant, arrogant, and dangerous. And it's unacceptable to talk about a neighboring country like this, or any country in the world. But here's what I want you to notice, and play it back if you need to. Look at how casual they're saying it. Like it's no big deal. Like, we'll just take 3 provinces, and we'll do it without force. This kind of message is now going to be repeated by the 77 idiots that are supporting Donald Trump. And having Jesse Waters in this position only fuels it. It enables the uneducated, and frankly, it's disgusting. So thank you, Jesse, for making my hate towards your country grow even more. Let me know in the comments what you think about his comments towards Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Canada as a whole. Now, before we get into the 2 reports, I just want to say this. At the end of the video, I'm going to address the elephant in the room, which is the copycat. I really appreciate the support you've all shown in dealing with it. And I'll talk more about it at the end of the video. All right, let's get into the 2 reports.
Many Canadians are no longer coming into the Thousand Islands to spend the day or shop. In fact, new data shows Canadian spending in Jefferson County has been cut in half since last year. 7 News reporter Lexi Bruning has the numbers and learns what may be to blame.
32-26. A sunny day to shop in Clayton, but it didn't always look this way. Rain in May didn't do businesses any favors.
So our season normally starts in May. It didn't start till like late June.
The weather, the classic excuse from the US business owners and tourism officials. Apparently, it's the reason no Canadians are visiting because of the weather. We live in Canada. We deal with harsher weather than most of the United States ever will. Rain, cold, snow, that's not going to stop us from traveling. We're still wearing shorts when it's 5 or 10 degrees. So no, the reason we're not crossing the border isn't because it's a little chilly or raining. But sure, blame the weather instead of the boycott, instead of the president, instead of your politics, and the way Canadians have been treated lately.
Which was a late start for us.
Mason jar owner Lynette Thayer says rainy weather and a lack of Canadian visitors since has likely contributed to the store's 15% drop in traffic.
Unfortunately, this situation is not unusual for us because we went through this during COVID when the border was closed for 19 months.
Let me explain this to the clueless US business owner. During COVID, we didn't go south of the border because we couldn't. The borders were shut down both ways. But here's the difference. Back then, we wanted to. And as soon as those border restrictions were lifted, we were happy to come back to visit. Now, it's completely different. Your border is open, though it feels less safe than it used to. But this time, we have the option to go, and we're choosing not to. We're doing it in protest against your president, his administration, and the 77 million supporters. So stop pretending that it's the same as COVID. Back then it was about restrictions. Now it's about choice. And you're comparing apples to salmon.
Data received by the Thousand Islands International Tourism Council backs up a concern expressed months ago. Canadians aren't visiting or spending money in the U.S.
We also look at credit card spending. That's an easy measurable thing. We can't track cash as well, so we look at credit card sales throughout Jefferson County and where those markets are originating from.
According to Fram, since April, Canadian spending is down around 63% compared to last year. Restaurants have also seen a 63% drop in Canadian spending this June compared to last June. Retail shops have seen a 70% drop.
Does anyone else get that feel-good feeling inside when they hear the percentage dropped in Canadian spending in the US? I don't know. I do. It's not that I want every business to fail, especially the ones that didn't vote for Trump. But the problem is, we have no way of knowing whether a business owner did or didn't. And when I hear a business owner blame the weather for why Canadians are not coming, I can't help but assume that she probably voted for Trump. That's just my opinion. And to the trolls saying you're being a hateful person, go back and rewatch the Jesse Waters clip from the start of the video.
It's not a political statement to say that it's driven by negative sentiment from rhetoric and stuff, talk about 51st states and those kind of things. 100% of the Canadians that we talk to cite that as a reason for why they're not visiting.
Fram says another factor, rising exchange rates. He says Canadians just aren't getting as much bang for their buck here in America.
Oh, for fuck's sakes, are you serious? The exchange rate is not a valid reason. I know I've done this before in the past, but for our new subscribers, I'm going to do it again. On the day I'm recording this, August 9th, 2025, the Canadian dollar to the US is currently sitting at 0.72756. 1 year ago on the same date, it was 0.7279. It's virtually the same, and last year we were still willingly going to the US. So what changed? Well, this guy. So Miss News Reporter, are you also saying that last year was just as bad as this year? Because the exchange rate hasn't changed. Let me know what you think in the comments. And sorry for the cat.
Their dollar is weak compared to the US dollar, so there's just not a financial case as much to be made for them to visit.
Fram says talk of tariffs is another factor in what could be bringing numbers down, and he isn't expecting them to bounce back for a couple of years.
To be off 60+% in your spending year to year is significant, and it's going to have a real effect on us when we look back at 2025.
While Canadian spending has gone down this spring, U.S. visitor spending has stayed flat, which makes up a bulk of total spending.
But wait, I thought domestic tourism was the bulk of the US tourism industry. I mean, this guy said it, so it must be true, right?
Also, of course, like we could survive without a ton of international tourism. I think the tourism industry in America, and I don't know this as a fact, but I think our tourism industry is more based on domestic tourism. Like during COVID,
I love using this guy's clip. It's aging like milk in the desert. It's clear this county is suffering, and they're in complete denial about the reason why, just like the other cities as well. This actually ties into a recent interview I did with one of our community members. He's a Canadian living in the US, and we had a good 45-minute conversation. What he told me is pretty telling. Where he lives, the US citizens and businesses around him, they really don't care about Canadians, but they'll gladly take our money. That interview will be published soon, so stay tuned for that. And it was actually my first public interview I've ever done. All right, let's move on to the next county and hear their excuses.
If you think tourism doesn't affect you, you may want to think again. St. Lawrence County officials out with numbers showing if tourism didn't generate millions of dollars each year, it would affect the property owner. Revealed at a recent legislator meeting, a property owner sees a $476 savings because of tourism. 7 News reporter Thomas Caffarella tonight on the value of tourism and the fears of it dwindling.
Each pin on this North American map inside the Sherman Inn, a bed and breakfast in Ogdensburg, represents where guests come from, many from across the border.
I think our Canadian travelers are down a little bit.
Well, nothing gets past you, Mr. Business Owner. Thank you so much for pointing out the obvious. We never would have figured it out without you. I don't know why, I'm just feeling extra sarcastic today for some reason.
2023, tourists in St. Lawrence County spent $33 million on lodging, $38 million on eating and drinking. In all, tourism brought $166 million in 2023 for the county, up from $159 million in 2022.
Okay, so why didn't they include 2024 numbers? Tourism officials have these figures by now. It's already August 2025. This feels like another case of media propping up the numbers instead of giving us the clear, factual data. My guess? 2024 revenue probably dropped from 2023, and they just don't want to show it. I'd like to see 2022 all the way up to 2025 numbers all together to really see the trend. What's your take on why they omitted 2024? Let me know in the comments.
It adds revenue to the county and saves property owners from paying higher taxes.
Tourism spending generated more than $476 in resident savings per household.
Tiffany Amo at the St. Lawrence County Chamber of Commerce says it's hard to give a dollar amount when it comes to fewer Canadian travelers in St. Lawrence County. But as for events, she's seen the decline firsthand.
Canton Canoe Weekend is a great example. It's actually an event that takes place every year in the spring. And I went to that event myself, and there weren't as many visitors, and they cited, a huge drop in Canadian visitors attending the event.
And international bridge crossings are still down. April numbers released by U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer show a decline across all 3 North Country bridges when compared to April last year. The biggest difference was Ogdensburg-Prescott International Bridge at nearly a 30% drop. As for the Sherman Inn, Reagan says worsening U.S.-Canadian relations isn't greatly hitting his bottom line and hopes not to lose customers because of the political climate in Washington and Ottawa.
The Canadians have been a key part of our business since we took over the place 5 years ago.
And for the chamber, Amos says it's important for businesses to be welcoming to Canadians that are still coming to the U.S.
For those Canadians still going to the US, there's not much we can do. We all know someone, a family member, friend, coworker, a friend of a friend, someone that's still going across into the US. But those people clearly don't value Canadian sovereignty the way we do. They put their own wants and self-interest ahead of our country. The good news, the rest of Canada is making a real impact. If we weren't, I wouldn't have this steady of a stream of reports to cover. And I want to thank all of you for sending them to me via email and on Blue Sky. The pattern in these reports are always the same. They're struggling, in denial, and blaming everything else but the people in the White House. And as you will hear from my upcoming interview, most US businesses don't care about Canada, just our money. Let me know in the comments if you agree. Now, before I wrap up, I need to address the elephant in the room that's been affecting the channel as well as the community. If you don't know by now, there's a copycat. At first, I ignored it. But when I started getting emails, comments, and messages on Blue Sky from people who clicked on his videos thinking it was me, that's when it became a problem. The channel is called Leaf Voice, and if you scroll past his thumbnails quickly, you might actually think they were mine. Several of our community members have already shown this. I even made a public statement warning them about this channel. I even offered to help to create his own brand and move away from mine. He actually did send me an email. In that email, he basically stated that he used my channel for quote-unquote inspiration and that he thinks I do a great job, but also that he's done nothing wrong. We know this is a deceitful tactic, and we're not stupid. And even the community members are calling him out. He's getting clicks from people looking for my videos, using thumbnails, a logo, and a name that looks far too similar to mine. It's clear he's not going to change. And I'm beginning to wonder if he actually is Canadian or just a content farmer. So as I've said in my post, keep reporting his channel for impersonation until he decides to rebrand and stop deceiving the YouTube viewers. I know many of you are already doing this on every video he posts and on his channel directly. Hundreds of you have reached out to me by email and on Blue Sky, offering assistance and ideas through your connections. It's sincerely appreciated, and it shows how much this channel means to you. I'm not here to gatekeep. I'm all for more legitimate Canadian content creators. I even offer to help someone in our comments to start their own, show them the ropes, and support them along the way. We do need more Canadian voices out there. What we don't need are so-called Canadian creators who are here to deceive viewers. So if you're interested in making your own channel, to help Canadians get their voices heard, the invite is open to everybody. Just reach out to me. And as mentioned before, please double check the video that you're about to click on is actually mine. Make sure it does say guard the leaf. Thank you for listening to this, and most importantly, for supporting the channel through the unnecessary headache that we're going through. Community members, if you notice anything suspicious or want to reach out to me, I'm always watching my inbox. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.